There's a renewed sense of optimism emerging in Washington this October 2025, something that has been missing from the immigration debate for a very long time. After years of political gridlock, competing agendas, and countless unfulfilled promises, Congress has finally taken a meaningful step toward addressing immigration reform in a comprehensive and balanced way. This week, lawmakers introduced a major proposal known as the Dignity Act of 2025. Supporters say it could transform how the United States manages its borders, treats its immigrant workforce, and supports families who have been part of American life for years. For millions of people, immigrants, business owners, and local communities, this legislation represents the first genuine opportunity in decades for progress rooted in stability, accountability, and fairness. Many observers are calling it the most significant immigration bill since the 1980s. But what makes this effort different from the many failed reform attempts that came before? In this report, we'll explore the key parts of the Dignity Act of 2025, how it could reshape U.S. immigration policies, and what it means for both immigrants and American citizens moving forward. Before we begin, if you find value in our immigration updates and want to stay informed about official policy changes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications. That way, you'll receive accurate and timely updates directly on your device. Now, let's dive into the details. The Dignity Act of 2025 isn't just another proposal. It's a bipartisan effort that aims to strike a fair balance between three long-standing priorities: border security, lawful immigration pathways, and labor stability. It was carefully crafted by members of both political parties after months of negotiation and community consultation. At the center of this bill is a new legal status program that provides protection and structure for undocumented immigrants who have lived in the U.S. for several years. Unlike previous proposals that offered broad amnesty or full citizenship, this plan focuses on accountability and long-term legal recognition. To qualify, applicants must have been living in the United States continuously since before 2021. They must pass extensive background checks, pay taxes, and make restitution payments totaling $7,000 spread over 7 years. In return, they can receive renewable legal status that allows them to work and travel freely within the law. However, it's important to note that this legal status does not include access to federal benefits. The idea behind it is to create a stable, lawful environment for those who contribute to the economy and society while maintaining fairness for taxpayers. Florida Representative Maria Elvira Salazar, the Republican who introduced the bill, described it as a third way, a path that avoids the extremes of both mass deportations and unconditional amnesty. For millions of undocumented immigrants who have lived, worked, and raised families in the U.S. for years, this proposal could finally provide a measure of security and dignity. But legalization is only one part of the broader plan. The Dignity Act also commits $70 billion to modernize and strengthen border security. That funding would be directed toward advanced surveillance systems, new personnel hiring, faster response operations, and improved border infrastructure. One key change is the official end of the so-called catch-and-release practice, replaced with a more structured and efficient processing system. Importantly, the bill also ensures that immigration enforcement cannot take place in sensitive locations, such as schools, churches, and hospitals, places that should always remain safe for families and children. Another major reform involves the nationwide rollout of E-Verify, the government's online system that allows employers to confirm whether workers are legally authorized to work in the U.S. Under this legislation, every business, from agriculture to technology, would be required to use E-Verify. Lawmakers believe this change will help reduce illegal employment, protect fair wages, and make the job market more transparent for both citizens and immigrants. A third pillar of the Dignity Act focuses on asylum system reform. For years, the asylum process has been overwhelmed, leading to enormous backlogs and years-long delays for applicants. The new bill sets a 60-day timeline for processing asylum claims made at the border, handled by trained officers to ensure faster and fairer outcomes. The goal is to help those truly escaping danger receive quick protection, while ensuring that fraudulent claims are identified and addressed efficiently. The bill also prioritizes visa modernization. This part aims to simplify a system that has often been criticized as outdated and slow. It proposes removing unnecessary rules, cutting long processing times, and expanding the number of available visas in key categories. For example, it would update family and employment-based quotas, reduce wait times for people stuck in decades-long backlogs, and align immigration levels more closely with the current needs of the American economy. In essence, the Dignity Act tries to make the immigration process smarter, faster, and fairer, both for those seeking to come to the United States and for those already here, contributing to its communities and industries. For dreamers, young people who were brought to the U.S. as children and have grown up here, this proposal could be life-changing. While it doesn't immediately offer a pathway to citizenship, it would provide lasting legal protection and relief from the constant fear of deportation. The legislation would also have a major impact on U.S. businesses. Sectors such as agriculture, healthcare, construction, and hospitality, industries that rely heavily on immigrant labor, are expected to gain from a more predictable and lawful workforce. By requiring all employers to use E-Verify, the bill seeks to reduce exploitation of undocumented workers and raise workplace standards overall. That, in turn, helps improve conditions and wages for everyone in the labor force. Border communities would receive new funding for infrastructure, housing, and essential services, areas that have often been stretched thin by years of inconsistent enforcement. These investments are meant to help towns manage growth, improve local economies, and strengthen community safety. Another notable feature is that the bill's major programs are self-funded, meaning they are not expected to place new burdens on American taxpayers. Costs would be covered through application fees, legal processing costs, and the restitution payments required from participants in the legal status program. Politically, the Dignity Act of 2025 stands out for its bipartisan nature. Lawmakers from both parties, including Democrats like Veronica Escobar of Texas and Republicans representing border and agricultural states, have voiced support for the bill. They describe it as a realistic compromise that combines compassion with responsibility. Faith-based organizations, immigrant advocacy groups, and business coalitions have also welcomed the proposal. They emphasize that the bill is not about scoring political points. It's about addressing long-standing issues with sensible and humane solutions. Still, there are disagreements. Some immigration advocates argue that the bill doesn't go far enough because it stops short of offering full citizenship or access to certain public benefits. On the other hand, some conservative lawmakers worry that any legalization program, no matter how limited, could encourage more unauthorized migration in the future. These concerns are expected to shape the upcoming debate in Congress. What makes this moment unique, however, is the sense of momentum and urgency surrounding the effort. After years of inaction, both parties appear motivated to move forward with a structured, phased plan. If passed, implementation would take place in several stages. The first phase would focus on border security upgrades, hiring additional personnel, and deploying advanced technology. The second phase would open the new legal status program, likely within the next year. The following stages would gradually introduce asylum and visa reforms throughout 2026 and beyond, ensuring proper oversight and transparency. If executed well, experts believe the Dignity Act could serve as a model for modern immigration reform, not just for the United States, but for other nations struggling with similar challenges. This renewed approach comes at a critical moment. The past few years have seen record levels of enforcement and deportations, yet fundamental challenges remain unresolved. Labor shortages continue across multiple industries, and millions of families still live in uncertainty. The border continues to experience both humanitarian and logistical difficulties. The Dignity Act of 2025 does not claim to solve every issue, but it does provide a framework based on accountability, compassion, and economic practicality. It acknowledges the enormous contributions that immigrants make to the United States, while reaffirming that strong laws and humane enforcement can coexist. As discussions move to the Senate and the White House, many questions remain. Will lawmakers from both parties maintain their cooperation? Can this bill survive political pressure and public debate? And most importantly, will it finally deliver the kind of immigration reform that so many have been waiting for? While the answers are not yet